A man is holding a bouquet of roses when he notices his girlfriend kissing another. She gets scared, and then the other man asks who that was. She doesn't know what to say, but the man says he was just a friend. The other man then compliments the man and tells him that he was the woman's fiancé. The man then says that she hadn't told him that she was marrying someone. The other then says that they would still take a while to get married, and then the man apologizes and says that he was glad they were together. He then asks if they've been together for a long time. The other then says they've been together for 2 years, but they've been engaged for a year. The man then says that he was very happy that they were together and that she seemed like a person who respected him a lot. The other says he was very happy with the woman as she would never cheat on him. The other then asks if the man wanted to go with them, have a cup of coffee, but the man says he didn't want to disturb the two. The other says that he wouldn't be disturbing anything, because the best time they spent together was at night. The man then laughs at the situation and the other says that they could have a good time together. He then tells the woman that she was very shy and says that must have been because she hadn't introduced her friend before. The man then says that the woman was very shy since her school days. He then asks if the woman wouldn't mind if he goes along with them, and the other says it wouldn't be a problem. She then said it was fine and the man could go. The man then says that if they didn't have a problem with that, he would go with them. The other says everything was fine, and then they head to a coffee shop. Later, they are having coffee and the man asks how the preparations for their wedding are going. The other then says that they were almost done with the preparations, but that the whole problem was in the house they were going to buy, as they were still planning it. The man then says he is impressed with them, as they already had a house to live in. He then asks the woman if she was excited about the new moment in her life that was about to come. She then says that she was really enjoying it, and the other says that she was very happy. He then asks the man if he was single and asks him to tell him a little about himself. The man then says that they would soon realize that married life was not easy, as he was getting divorced after being together for a long time. He says that he had found out that she was cheating on him with someone else and that now they were getting divorced. He then says that he didn't want to talk about it, as they were very happy with the marriage. The other then says he was very sad to hear the man's story and says he was very happy to have found a person who was faithful to him. He says that this was very difficult to find, but that he believed that the man would be able to find someone who would make him happy, as the man seemed to be a very good person. The man then says that he really was a good person and that he didn't deserve to go through that. He says that he always tried to give his best to a person, but she didn't care about that and still attracted him. He said he didn't want to talk about it and says they should focus on their marriage as they seemed so happy. He then says he needed to make a call and leaves the table. The other then says that he was very sorry to hear about the story of his fiancé's friend. He says that his fiancé's friend seemed like a very good person and that he didn't deserve to go through that, but that finding a faithful person was a very difficult task these days. She then says that that was really a sad story. The man then calls his mother-in-law and asks if his wife was home. The mother-in-law says that her daughter was at home, but that she was taking a bath. She then tries to imitate the noise of a shower to try to fool the man. He then says he must have been going crazy as he was seeing his wife right in front of him. The mother-in-law then tries to convince the man that his daughter was in his house, but the man says he doesn't want to know about it anymore and hangs up the phone. He then goes back to the table and the other one asks if everything was okay. At that moment, the woman receives a call from her mother and the man says that she was receiving a call. He then says that he hasn't talked to the woman's mother in a long time and tells her to answer the phone. The other says she could take it, but she says she won't take it right now. He then asks why his fiancée hung up the phone and says it must have been something important. At this time, the woman's mother calls again and another tells her to answer the phone. The woman then answers the phone and her mother asks if the man was really with her. She said the man had said he was seeing her, but he wasn't sure. She then tells her daughter to get out of there quickly so the man wouldn't know what she was doing, but the woman said she couldn't speak at the moment. She then tries to hide it and says that her mother was very funny, but that she couldn't speak at that moment. The woman then hangs up the phone and her mother doesn't know what was going on. She then wonders what she was going to do and has the idea of going to meet her daughter. The other asks if something had happened, but she says no. He asks if she was sure, as her mother could be in need of something. The man then says he is happy, because her mother was fine. Meanwhile, at the woman's mother's house, she was getting into her car to drive to where her daughter was. The man then asks what their wedding date is and the other says that even with everything almost ready, something always goes wrong and they can't set a date. He says that everything was already paid for the ceremony, in which even so, something always went wrong when setting the date for the wedding and they ended up not getting married. The man then says that these things always happened, because marriages were always complicated. The woman says he was right, it was a lot of small details that made all the difference. The man then loses his temper, but at this moment, the woman's mother appears. The woman then asks what her mother was doing there and then the other says that he was finally getting to meet her mother. She then tells the man that man was her nephew, which leaves everyone confused. The woman then tells her mother to stop talking and then the other says he didn't understand that. She tries to disguise it but the other man says that he was not her nephew, but the woman's fiancé. The man then says that he has had enough of it and wishes good luck to the other man in the family he was entering. The other man then asks why and says he needed to know what was going on there. The woman then apologizes to him and then runs after the man. She asks the man to forgive her. She said she was sorry about that, but the man says he couldn't forgive her. He says that she had been with that man for a long time and that she had already built a lot with him. He then said that he could not excuse the woman as she had cheated on him. She then asks how he could be giving up his child, but the man says he wasn't giving up his child, he was just giving up the woman. He said that he wanted nothing more to do with the woman and that she should continue her life with someone else. The woman then wonders what she was going to do now and then her mother hugs her.